photography. Yes, this is a community service announcement brought to you by Urban Radio Tulsa Online. We would like to thank our distinguished guest, Dr. Tammy Steele, founder and CEO of the National Women in Agriculture Association. Welcome, Dr. Steele.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Now, the NWIAA, the National Women in Agriculture, is the largest nonprofit women in agriculture association in the world. Now, what in your background assisted you to want to start an organization like this?
Well, I want to first make a clarification. We
Okay.
are the largest minority, that's men and women, agriculture nonprofit in the world. What prompted me to start the organization, because White America act as if Black women did not exist, specifically in the agriculture industry. Coming from an agriculture background as myself, my family currently still operates from the 40 acres and a mule that was given during the Emancipation Proclamation movement. So coming back to Oklahoma from living in New York, working on Wall Street, degreed, all that good stuff, and moved back to Oklahoma, and I saw that my family, having the actual property that they still operate, run beef cattle on, they weren't profitable at all. And I would go to our family farm and I would look across the road, as we like to say, and see the white farmers' property, all nice, pretty, white fence, everything lined up nice and neat. The cows out there like picture perfect. Unlike on our side of the road where we had property, but everything looked broke down and not together. And also I had aunties and my mother as well that inherited property also from their parents and great grandparents and great grandparents. And they didn't have a voice at all either. In the actual 40 acres and the other properties that were connected to my family property, as well as a couple of my aunts are now widows and they have land where their husbands were farmers, but they were just sitting dormant. They weren't doing anything with the property. It wasn't profitable. And I just kind of, something has to give here. This doesn't make sense to me. As well as family members, friends in the rural community where I'm from, several women had property. They were about to sell it or, not keep up the taxes or what have you and let it go back into state property. So I went to several Black farmers conferences and I started assisting with that. When I say assisting, event coordinating, doing registration, keeping up with paperwork, basically exercising my administrative or executive skills, just tying it all in and what I do in the legal background of the law firms. I saw at these meetings as well, there were women at the conferences, the Black farmers conferences, but they weren't saying anything. You had men there, of course, and they were voicing their opinions, and basically the women were sitting there and had no voice whatsoever. Basically, they were just there to hold papers for their spouses or their significant others. Mm-hmm. So I had talked to one of my colleagues / employer at OG&E, was a senior attorney. Actually, I was up under, and I told them my idea that I wanted to start something for women farmers. I wanted to start an organization to help minority women farmers. And he said, I'll help you. So he helped me do all the incorporation papers, blah, blah, blah. This was back in early 2008. Like we was founded in February 2008. And 2009 is when we really came out, when we really started to grow. Because initially, when I went to the government here in Oklahoma, the USDA, they told me, the white gentleman, Tammy, you can't do what you want to do. We'll give you $3,000 to host a conference for women, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, that's not enough, because hosting a conference in my culture is not enough. We have social, educational issues that's not comprehensive enough for our culture. So he said, well, I'm gonna tell you this, you can't do what you want to do as far as have an organization for women in agriculture in Oklahoma, you're not going to receive any money because you're a Black woman in Oklahoma and it's not going to go anywhere. Well, of course, I took offense to that, and I was like, wow, I was young and dumb then, and I had some attitude behind it. And to this day, fast forward, every time I see him, I hug him because he pushed me out there to national level. And he was a Caucasian leader in the community, a very high in the agriculture industry. And as a result of that, it just started to grow because we started hosting these conferences as well as getting small grants. And we did small grant paperwork for the women farmers for their farm. With the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, we started blueberry farms, started these projects on their farms, literally. And the woman kept, the women farmer kept the money. And this is something that they can do themselves. And most people or most leadership, when you're dealing with the Black culture, especially in the rural areas, they aren't tech savvy. They're not able to incorporate or even deal with half of the paperwork that the government throw at them. So that's how they get caught in the loop or lose their properties because there's no one there to really interpret the paperwork or help them with it. So they get discouraged and end up losing. So doing that, starting those actual blueberry, strawberry farms, peach orchards, we did it all. I had my cousin get the tractor. We went and broke out gardens on these women farms. And that's how National Women in Agriculture came about. We were very intentional in putting tangible assets on the women farm for them to be profitable. So as a result of that, it caught on in other states as we went to do conferences in other states like Alabama, Mississippi. We started in the South because we knew in the South, that's where the most farmers were, as well as the uneducated, if you will. And the things that the need was greater. That's the better word for it. And Atlanta was the fourth place, and that conference blew it out the water. We had over 800 people there, and there in Atlanta, they love to see a sister move and help, and we blew up from there.
Okay, great. Now the NWIAA is leading and hosting an advocacy march on Washington, D.C., September the 21st. Please share with our audience the key objectives of this march and what you intend to achieve.
The key objective is marching to save and educate our youth. It's Black women, not Black women farmers. It's Black women marching to save our children. And we're marching to bring awareness and asking to speak to President Biden to help us with equity and inclusion as we help him become president. Right. That's what we'll be marching for on Thursday, September 21st in Washington, D.C.
Okay. Now, will this march be an annual event?
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping, and if it was, I would hope it would be a celebration march annually.
Yes.
That recommenced history, because the march like this has never been done, nor has Black women stepped up to the plate to go to the president with a solution that we have that's a sustainable solution for many generations to come as a result of our research, our findings, as well as our 15 plus years of service work in several communities across the nation. Okay.
Now, do you have any local support from our constituents here?
No.
Wow.
No.
And why do you think that is?
I think that, again, it goes back to being a Black female. I think if I was a Black male or a white female, it would be picked up quickly. That's just the way it's written and the way it's exercised in the United States as a whole, but more so in Oklahoma. It's not of urgency because, again, they really, no one has ever seen what our organization has, no one has ever done it in history. You don't hear of Black people starting businesses for other people. And that's what we've done. We've opened up these chapters are, in essence, businesses. We have over 88 businesses worldwide that we opened in underserved communities to help them go for government resources, and not a dime comes back to headquarters.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that's some intentional giving work to try to help people help themselves while they help their community. Okay. So that is probably like a little far-fetched. Some people may look at it as well, people that don't understand business, of course. Like it's something that may be mishandling, but if you go, everything's filed with Secretary of State, EIN's done, DUNS number, SAMs, all the stuff that usually in Black America is not done by, it's done by an individual or an organization. It sits right there for itself. It doesn't spread out. We do it for every community that come and want to go on board.
Okay, great. Okay, now tell me, what else can we look forward to from the NWIAA in upcoming events?
Well, the march, of course, I think is just in itself an historical, bold movement. And we plan to start at the Capitol, on Capitol Hill, where Congress is. We have distinguished guest speakers, including a congressional leader there in DC who is going to speak. Miss Eleanor, she's going to speak. She's actually a congresswoman there in the DC area. We also have a lieutenant governor who is Caucasian that has put his stamp on us and said he's stepping out and saying Caucasian men are helping Black women and children. They're helping us save our children. And that's the way we framed it, because we couldn't get that help from Black Caucus or anyone at this time. Not saying that they won't come on board, but we had to make a statement to get some awareness there that we need help. We also have some former some Olympians and WNBA players that are going to be speakers at the event. We have some civil rights leaders that are stepping forward that they're going to be speakers. So we're going to march from Capitol Hill to the USEA and then to the White House area. And we're going to set up at the Lafayette Park, which is right there in front of the White House. 50 to 75 of us are going to actually be marching on the sidewalk, because according to the rules and the permits that we've been able to secure those and have escorts and all that as we march with pink t-shirts everywhere. Men, women, and children, but children of the ages of 13 and older, because we don't want the little ones there and be trampled over or anything. But we're expecting a minimum of 500 that we will be there to bring that awareness. And again, like I said, this is something for generations to come. When I'm long gone, this would be what we're asking President Biden to become, is the first Black congressional chartered organization ever in America's history. You say, well, what is that? Chartered organization is like the Art Society, Boys and Girls Scouts. These are organization, nonprofits that receive funding from Congress no matter what. And as far as our organization, we're trying to become a pilot program to 4-H and FFA for at-risk youth, because those are agriculture youth programs that's been around for 120 years that, a certain specific group of children get all these life sustainable skills, which is agriculture. And you can't be on earth without agriculture. The air we're breathing is agriculture. It's just that we're not educated to know it. And that's what we're trying to make sure our children learn it at an early age and become experts and have sustainable careers while we grow food and give access to locally grown foods, creating jobs, being a recruiting agent to colleges, increasing the number of Black farmers. We're down to 1%. The female Black farmer is down to 0.5%. Now, mind you, we are women. I always like to put a pin right there. We are women. We are literally and figuratively developing new Black farmers, no matter how you put it. It's just that the Caucasian leaders, they see it. We're trying to get our own people to see it and respect it. And that's another story for a different day and a different generation. Then last and most important, our initiative will save and educate our youth, which is important because they're dying in record numbers and they're filling up the jail cells.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Steele, that kind of wraps it up for us. Can you tell us and tell our audience, how can they, people that are interested in your organization, get involved and in touch with you?
They are welcome to reach me on the website at NWIAA.org. That's NWIAA.org. We're also on every social media platform. National Women in Agriculture Association, that's from Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, we're everywhere. So it's just a matter of connecting with us there. If you would like to march with us, there's also a registration that is online there to register. We have been blessed by the East Coast leadership When I say that, Divine Nine and other churches, to get our base group out of the DC or the DMV area, the Washington, DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. There are some leaders there with the Divine Nine and others that are trying to make sure we have our base number group there in DC, and then everything else, and people who want to join in this historical movement are welcome to do so.
All right, sounds great. Well, Dr. Steele, we thank you for joining us for our community service announcement, and much success to you on your march in DC on the 21st. Yes, you are welcome. And if you have,
we are excited. We just received some press that's coming in out of Boston that they will be at the march. Yeah, we're excited.
All right, great, great. Well, and we'd like to tell our audience, if you have an announcement, a community service announcement that you would like to have on our show, be sure and give us a call at 918-467-5630. That's 918-467-5630. Or you can email us at urbanenterprisestulsa@gmail.com. And that's for all of us here at Urban Radio Tulsa Online. Thank you for tuning in. We are the voice of the Black community. Black power and Ashe.
All right, Ashe. Thank you.
All right, thank you.